Fire team.
Hello guys and welcome to SDL 2014 Season 1. Joining me is Pythons and Silk, and we are part of 4 States Casting. Now, SDL, this first match between Impact and Meth Supa Gaming was a really action-packed match, and Meth Supa Gaming, or MSG, came out on top with a huge farming rate for their carry, the Luna. So Artemis doing an amazing job to carry their team, and unfortunately the punks on the Sven on the side of Impact just couldn't get his farm up, couldn't compete, and unfortunately they just were hammered down by the Luna, the Tinker, and some great plays by the support Dazzle.
10 seconds remaining.
There's two. I always like to put in there vocally too. If we actually seen the first ban that come from Impact was the Tinker ban.
Reserve time.
I would like. Didn't
Yep, so they did not want to verse that mid again.
Didn't Meth Supa Gaming ban Nature's Prophet and Invoker last time?
Yes, they did.
So that must be something they're not willing to deal with, just the split push type thing. They don't want to deal with the split push, because Invoker actually has fairly strong split push as well.
Witch Doctor.
Oh, one of my favourite characters.
Pick.
So this is exactly what I thought they would do
Team
here. I was actually thinking we might see a bit more of an aggressive lineup, an aggressive, you know, punchbackable type lineup. And they've done it. We've got the Witch Doctor, we've got the Pudge. We're basically ready to fight level 6.
Radiant team ban.
Yeah, and look, a Pudge is really exciting for us to cast, as well as for viewers to watch, because, you know, getting those Pudge hooks, even misses, are exciting to see, you know, when they throw them out and they just manage to squeeze by that hook. But I can't wait to see what comes out from this Pudge, because we saw some great plays from the Kunker, so I'm hoping to see some really nice hooks coming from Impact.
That's right.
In at least the early game, if not, you know, late game.
I wonder if this Pudge is going to have the new set too. That set looks really good. Doesn't exactly help you with your hooks, but it looks good.
yeah, and that like reddy
I found out it changes
looks weird,
colour, depending if it's nighttime or daytime.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, nighttime
really?
It changes colour. That's right,
Yep.
guys. Yeah.
One thing I'm not a fan of on it
That's
though
so cool.
is they added particles, so you can actually see the rot debuff on people. But the problem with that is, a lot of people don't realise how big the range on rot is.
Team ban.
So in a pub situation,
Yeah,
I think that's
quite
actually a
decent.
disadvantage.
So people can actually see when they
Yep.
get the rot.
They
debuff.
get like a cloud on them as well, and it's like it's a lot easier to
10
see
seconds
that you're
remaining.
being rotted. Because in a team fight, there's plenty of people that stand
Yeah.
within rot range and don't
5
realise they're actually in
seconds
the range
remaining.
because it's bigger than it looks.
Reserve
It doesn't
time.
just. It's not just the radius of the cloud. It actually goes a little bit beyond it.
Yep. Which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do believe too. They picked a decent enough round with this Impact team did time with the Witch Doctor and the Pudge, especially with the Witch Doctor's little stun coming off. Why Pudge is in the middle of them, rotting them with a Witch Doctor ulti.
The
Big
other thing
team
is
fight ability, big plays. I'm hoping to see good things from that.
long-term disable, a 3-second channel that he can actually generally pull off the whole time of because he does have that so much health.
Yeah, and look,
Yeah,
with,
definitely.
as exciting as this lineup is with Impact, I cannot wait to see Artemis with his farming rate move on to this Lifestealer, because
yeah.
I think
10
Lifestealer
seconds
comes
remaining.
online a little bit quicker than the Luna, so we could see some team fights coming out a little bit sooner on the side of Meth Supa Gaming, and they could be going toe to toe with this really aggressive lineup for Impact, and
Definitely.
this Axe pick has just added to
That's
the
right.
aggressive
Pure aggression.
lineup here for Impact. Yeah.
Yeah,
And can you
definitely.
blame him?
So I do believe too.
Solo,
Like, you don't leave a farmer like Artemis. If someone out-farms you that badly and can farm up that quickly, you don't let them farm again
Yeah.
the second game.
Especially too with a Life Stealer, which can just tower over any pretty much nearly major heroes.
Team pick.
Yeah,
Storm Spirit coming out the side of Meth Super Gaming, so we see a lot of, we're going to see the Nake's Bomb with the Storm Spirit, Lifestealer popping in and being able to infest the Storm Spirit, and then the Storm Spirit with his huge mobility coming in and doing a gank on any heroes,
don't forget
the unfortunate Witch Doctor and Shadow Shaman.
It's quite a confident lineup from Meth Super Gaming. Like, they're pretty confident they're going to get the farm they need to be able to fight.
Definitely. Also, too, though, with the Visage Soul Assumption, that is a major move not to be underestimated.
Yeah.
Like, with that damage impact that it can put up, it can pretty much kill Shaman. At full level, one hit, it is devastating. It can take out a lot of big heroes very, very quickly. So, I think they're definitely going to use that to their advantage. I do think they're going to target that on now, probably on the Axe. Because they're going to want to get him out of that pretty much too with that Helix of his, because Lifestealer's rage only lasts for so long, so it's only going to put him immune for a little bit. I think too they're going to get the Shadow Shaman to hex and shackle the Lifestealer and get him out as much as possible.
Yeah, I think Axe may have been a bit of a counter for the Lifestealer, because when he does that Berserker's Call, rage or no, you're forced to attack him. You don't get a choice. And he has 40 extra armor when you do it.
Oh, definitely.
So that's basically another 3-second disable on the Lifestealer there, or whoever he does it on, really.
Well, I think they're going to use the Shadow Shaman to take out the Lifestealer, and if it's a good Shadow Shaman to whoever plays it, if they do the job right, they will not be a Lifestealer much in this game at all.
That's right.
They
Well,
will shut him down quickly, and that would leave enough.
That's right. One thing I was a big fan of with Artemis, and I've actually started doing it myself lately, is the no Midas thing. Midas is a great item, and it's certainly not to be underestimated, but the minute people see you with a Midas, they know they have to focus you. And it's very easy to focus someone with the Midas because they're missing any kind of defensive items. Whereas if you go that little bit more of a passive, you know, Helm of the Dominator, you've got that extra armor, you've got the lifesteal, so if someone wants to fight you, you're actually quite willing to turn around and fight them.
Yeah, definitely.
Also,
well, if they get this lifesteal, if he gets for his hand of Midas, it's going to give him an ultimate farm chance.
Yeah, and it also means that, you know, as a farmer, you sort of you develop the ability to increase your farming rate and have that huge amount of farm available to you without the use of a Midas, because you know, a lot of carries do rely on that Midas to outstrip the others in terms of carry rate or farming rate, and you know, we saw that Artemis just didn't need it.
That's right. Well, I'm actually a fan of like the Midas on characters like Sniper, because you do actually make use of the attack speed, and it's not stupidly bad cost. It's not great. It's really not great, but it's not stupidly bad cost for attack speed. And Sniper does sometimes need that bit of a boost. But as far as characters go that don't rely on the attack speed so much and stuff, I'm not a fan anymore. The other type of situation I do like it is when a level advantage is going to be a big deal. And then I use it on the big creeps rather than the small ones. I make sure I go into the jungle, use that Midas, because lower levels, it is a whole level, basically, you get off the big creeps. Ooh.
Oh wow, Faceless
Void.
That
is
a nice... That's,
impact, so...
I was actually AFK just before this game, and I was actually sitting there thinking, if I were them, I would go something like, completely different to what they've done, but IO, Ursa, Omni Knight, and just have like a 4-pack that can run around and be a pain while you've got someone heavy like an anti-mage farming, and it looks like that might be what they've done.
Yeah, and then...
Because that's a brutal 4-pack.
Looks like say Faceless Void out farms a Lifestealer if you do a 1v1 situation in terms of carry potential. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup, but I think it's a pretty even draft between these two teams. We're going to have the Storm Spirit come online and be able to gank a little bit, but same with the Pudge. The Pudge is going to be online as, if not sooner, than the Storm Spirit.
Well, I think they did pretty good on both. You know, they're using the clockwork now also to help try and disable the Axe as much as possible. the Cogs to get him kept away.
Yeah, Cogs are awesome.
Hopefully probably to try snatch someone for Lifestealer inside, so it's just him and Lifestealer going at it, which will be very beneficiary for Lifestealer. So I think they're definitely going to use that to their advantage. They're going to use that Soul Assumption. They're just going to get it up there. Rubik with hopefully with a Void Steel or a Witch Doctor Steel or even a Shaman Steel. So that was definitely a good pickup for MSG.
Yeah, so on the side of the Radiant, let us introduce these teams. MSG, Meth, Supa Gaming, on the Visage support. On the Rubik,
30 seconds
on
to battle.
the back in mid on the Storm Spirit is Onion, where are we? Onion Rider, and then the final Lifestealer, Artemis, of course, and that leaves in the off lane, Brock on the Clockwork. And for the Dire, Pythons, if you want to introduce these guys.
Alright. Definitely too. On Impact, we have Captain Luke with Void, we have Geek with Pudge, we have Golden with Axe, we have Punks for Shadow Shaman, and we have Zartan on Witch Doctor.
So pretty standard starting builds here for all these heroes. We see Witch Doctor's probably going to be going a nice quick earn with his 2 gauntlets of strength. Axe has gone a ring of protection for that extra armor as well as a stout shield, and he's going to be solo in his lane solo. Do you think we're going to see any lane cutting from the Axe?
I don't think so. Not with a Visage in the lane.
Yeah. No, not with him. I think they're going with that solo thing, feed to get him fed. He's going to have trouble with a Visage here, with with Lifestealer and Rubik. He's going to find it hard. They're going to go at him. They're going to Visage and Rubik are just going to keep him out of lane.
And
it's going to force one of them other two to get
Axe
there in
hates
lane.
ranged.
And look at that. There you go.
The,
Axe loathes ranged heroes.
the open wounds, which unfortunately couldn't finish him off.
Nah, they're going to call. I do believe that they're going to bring maybe a Shadow Shaman down bot to even help with the disable maybe of a couple of the other heroes down bot, especially maybe even just to get that Hex up to keep Lifestealer out of farm as much as possible with those last hits.
A little bit
He's only going to get
unorthodox.
levels. They're not going to let him have farm.
But what I would do, it's a little bit unorthodox, but what I would do is bring him up here. Lane cut. The Clockwork can't do anything about it. Get the tower, and then send everyone down there and have Faceless Void just up here on his own. Because he can get out of the cogs. Wouldn't take long. Because Clockwork doesn't have any major creep clearing abilities, so he can't tank the creeps.
And it does,
He can with that, with the, he's got his Battery Assault, which does some good damage to him, and the Rocket Flare. That gets rid of creep waves pretty quickly.
Yeah, but he can't tank them. That's the problem. He has no real durability. Clockwork actually has some very disappointing strength to begin with.
And even
Yeah, I'd say
looking at the
isn't he
rates,
too
the
in
top
strength
three right
hero?
now-
What was that,
top
Berkeley?
three
He has
right now
low-
are looking
he has
for,
low.
MSG, last hits 11 to the Storm Spirit, 10 to the Lifestealer, and one just like the Faceless Void managing to just get ahead of the Clockwork in terms of last hits. But Clockwork is getting a good good end of the bargain here because he's facing a tri lane and there is no harass coming out from this tri lane on him.
But this is what I'm talking about. You can't win an off lane without contesting carry farm. There's no point having someone just sit there and get levels unless they're going to carry and do something significant later. Otherwise, you're just letting, like, they're just going to let Artemis farm again. And that's why I was saying do something aggressive. If you can't rotate, and obviously you can't rotate away from the Void because the Void will get farmed by Clockwork. But if you take away that tower, it does give Void that little bit further he can push and then pull back, and then push and then pull back.
I don't know. I reckon they literally could at the moment with the way this Clockwork is playing, and that I do really think they could afford to give Witch Doctor and Shaman to go down bot to put that pressure on Artemis and let Void have single farm for a bit. I really do think they can afford that right now.
Now, although Pudge didn't give away First Blood, I think it's definitely important to mention that the Storm Spirit, or Onion Rider, managed to kick Geek out of the lane, and Pudge had to head back to base with a sliver of health left.
Oh, that's not nice.
So he missed out on a fair bit of gold.
That's actually worse than dying, almost.
Yeah.
Not on a gold scale, but on the XP
Yes.
scale, that's worse than dying.
Yeah, Storm's definitely now. He's a level and a half in front of the Pudge. Pudge is about to pick up double D rune, but yeah, definitely no. I like to see too that Pudge has the Butcher setup going. So he thinks he's a butcher. He thinks he's going to carve a few people up. We'll see if he can land these hooks.
I think it was
The
just
Lifestealer leading in terms of last hits, but Faceless Void managed to kick his butt into gear and actually get some last hits happening.
oh good. That's what they need. They need him getting that farm. I hope he's not going a Midas. I really don't think they have time for a Midas this game. And the first thing I think when I see a Void with a Midas, yep.
Gloves of haste.
The first thing I do
definitely be coming out.
when I see a Void with a Midas is go, let's farm him for the next like 10 minutes. Because there's not a lot he can do about it. Like you can make it heal chrono, but then that's on cooldown, so you just go for him again, and it really does hurt.
So you don't think a Void with a Midas is good?
I'm a big fan
good.
of.
It just depends on the circumstances.
If they've got like an anti-mage and all that, and they obviously don't want to fight early, then I'll go for it. But if I think there's any possibility they want any kind of early aggression, I will always go Mask of Madness first. And it's just because there's been too many games where you think you're fine, you get 3/4 of the way through a Battle Fury, and then you're expected to fight, or 3/4 of the way, you've got a Midas and you're halfway through your Mask, or halfway through your treads, and you have to fight. And you're like, I don't really have a lot to contribute.
Radiant's middle tower
On
may
the
need a
MSG
for impact, I think we're going to be seeing a little bit of passive play from the Lifestealer first until he gets his armlet.
Yep.
So I think they're not going to be ganking and rotating that much onto this Faceless Void. And
Yep.
he's, in terms of timing for his Midas, it's basically up, and that's
Yeah.
pre-6 minute
That's
mark.
true.
So that's pretty decent timing for Captain Luke to get the Midas up and running.
That's true, and by 20 I think
Also
it's 23 or 24 minutes now, it'll be paid for, so...
I was going to say, we have Zed again here that was playing Dazzles, now playing Rubik. He's getting that map control out very consistently. He's got that out now a lot. He's making sure he has that down and packed so no ganks come to him and his teammates.
Oh wow, Axe has actually picked up quite a few levels. He's doing alright. He's not contesting farm,
he's already hit
unfortunately,
level 6,
but
he's got his ulti.
that's right.
He's definitely come back from what he was.
Yeah.
Ooh, looks like Lifestealer went straight for the treads for that extra bit of attack speed.
And we see yet again the Midas skip on an Artemis's carry hero. So
Yep.
I can't wait to see how he goes against this Faceless Void, because if he manages to out farm a Midas Faceless Void, that is just going to be huge kudos to him.
Absolutely. The other catch with Midas is if you get caught between having a Midas and having like any other reasonable items, it's actually less efficient to farm because you're not effectively going through the jungle or effectively really doing anything.
Yeah, and we need to see this Battle Fury come out nice and quickly on the Faceless Void, because otherwise he's not going to be able to farm the creep camps in the jungle
Yep.
anywhere near as efficiently as he needs to keep up with a Lifestealer, Midas or no.
That's right. What I would actually
I would have
really
to say
like
too,
to
guys,
see. Yep.
with this too, guys, they could at the moment, Witch Doctor and Shadow Shaman, they have the mobility that can do it. They can kill this if they can kill this clockwork if they set it up right. If he overextends with a Witch Doctor stun with going there with a shackle on the Shadow Shaman so Void can bash him a little bit, it might get enough now for then Shadow Shaman to finish him off with a Ether Shock. Even though it might not give Void the kill, but it might even give him enough damage to take out a clockwork for an early first kill.
Yep. What I would actually really like to see is a level 6. Once they get the level 6, I'd really, really like to see. You got Clockwork initiating on the Shadow Shaman.
The Clockwork and the Shadow Shaman manages to get Hex off. Clockwork still going in with his battery assault down. Goes. Pudge is
wow.
missing. First blood stolen by Storm Spirit just before the Shadow Shaman goes down. So Pudge giving first blood. Well, we missed it completely because we were too busy focusing on this huge fight up top. Down goes the Witch Doctor to a final.
Wow.
Telekinesis.
That's actually happening a
Final
lot
fate bolt
in the
by
pros.
The Rubik.
They're doing that a lot in the pro tournaments now. If like someone like say Dandy's mid and Puppy shouts out that there's a gank going on elsewhere and first blood might be given away, Dandy will gun for that mid and just randomly change his pattern. because that first blood gold does
And
count for a
that
lot.
mean that, you know, that mid is paying slight attention to top, to what's happening at top. So I think that's a really a viable strategy.
Yeah, because the minute someone starts being engaged upon, it will draw attention, and that's when you're like, if you know what's going on, because courier's down.
Dyer's courier was lost in battle.
I'm not sure if that was a
Storm Spirit
you're in trouble
is
ping
about to
or
jump
a
on
you killed our
this
courier ping.
Pudge, I think. I think it's a bit of both. He killed the courier, and he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's
Because
gonna
there
die.
are 2 supports right now.
He's gonna die.
Up
That's a
goes
DD.
telekinesis, and we got a double damage Storm Spirit. It's gonna be right-clicking the hell
And they're
out of
just
him.
out of tower
Pulls
range
him in,
too.
And down goes the... Yeah, Storm Spirit still managed to get the final kill, even with that solar sump coming from Visage.
Dyer's middle tower is in the wrong end of business.
Alright, Boakley and Silk, I am sorry, I'm going to have to pull a swift one. I have guests came down here and it's quite, so I've got to make a quick blitz.
No worries.
It was unforeseen, as I just let you know then, Boakley.
That's all good, dude.
So,
Silk and I will hold down
I
the
hope
fort. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining
I
us
know,
and bringing
no,
it on.
that's fine.
Tower is under fire.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. MSG Impact, hope you have a good one and fight well.
We'll keep an eye on your favourite support.
Dyer's
Thanks a lot, buddy.
middle tower is in the wrong end of business.
Not for you.
Oh, so we've got Pudge rotating bottom
Right,
for a bit of a
Pudge
gank.
has jumped off it. We got myself and Silk sticking around. So yeah, Pudge is heading bottom, trying to help out this Axe, maybe get a kill or 2 if they can.
And I think they can. That Culling Blade, if Axe times it right, he can just Culling Blade them once they get low from that Pudge hook. Hook into a Culling. Oh.
Unfortunate miss from Geek though.
Yep. Really is a shame for them, because that would have been enough to, between that and a few seconds of rot, that would have been enough for the Culling Blade to just come smashing through.
Oh, absolutely. Huge.
That's right.
So we got the Witch throwing out the stun on the Clockwork as well as Melodic, but that's not going to be enough to actually lure him down because we didn't have the
Dyer's middle
follow-up
tower is under
Hex
fire.
or Shackle from the Shadow Shaman, so that was a little bit of a misplay from the supports of Impact. And now Lifesteal is turning around on the Axe, and the Axe is going to go down, and Pudge is just going to run away because he cannot do anything to save his
Radiant's
life.
top tower is under attack.
What I'd actually like to see, they know they can't let Artemis farm. I would like to see a full lane rotation from these guys up top.
Radiant's top tower is
Bait
getting
the other team into coming, and then get the
Dyer's
Chronosphere
middle
and just have the
tower
Witch
is in
Doctor
the
ult to go
wrong
through
end
it.
of business.
And the Witch Doctor
Dyer's
ult
middle
and
tower is
Chronosphere is a
under attack.
huge, really, really strong combination. 'Cause
Absolutely.
We've run it before, and it just works so well, especially when Witch Doctor gets his now that he's got his urn up, he's going to be probably working towards an Axe after Mana Boots. And so an Axe Scepter, and if you chrono a couple of people and get your an Axe Scepter, Witch Doctor ult bouncing between all the heroes in that in that chrono, that's just gonna it's instant death for half the team.
Absolutely, and they've got the Pudge too. And another one of my favourite combos is Pudge hooking out of Chrono, because you can't miss it. It's just a guaranteed, it's a guaranteed death sentence on whoever that is, basically, assuming Pudge is strong enough to, finish them off. But that, and they've got the Witch Doctor cask, so once that Chronosphere is finished, you just throw the cask and they're still stuck there. It's very hard to move with the cask bouncing between you.
Yeah, any sort of clumping with a Magnus or a Darkseer or whatever, coupled with a Witch Doctor paralyzing cask bounce, it plays havoc. And
Yep.
we see Pudge rotating up top, wanting to actually get kill on this Clockwork. Whether it's going to work out for them or not, though, that's another question, because Clockwork is sticking pretty close to these creeps and moving around as much as he can.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think here they need to do a bit of a Na'Vi strat, and Na'Vi's really good at the whole psychological warfare thing of rotating every. Oh, looks like nope, we're not seeing it. Oh, Clockwork's gone in though. Oh, that's deep.
On the support,
And he got it.
My God, Shadow Shaman,
Jeez.
whiff of the hook with Geek, and that was a bad misplay, and that cost Shadow Shaman his life XP, and yeah, that should not have happened on the side of Impact. That was an unfortunate misplay.
But yeah, Navi's great at this. Oh, we've got Storm Spirit coming in. He's going to pick off the Void. We're going to see
and he's going to nuke down the Faceless Void. Faceless Void tries and jumps out, but the Grave Chill and the Soul Assumption finishes him off.
Yep.
And Storm Spirit just casually walking away. He managed to jump in nice and quickly, and no
punishment whatsoever. Yeah, this Pudge pick hasn't worked out for them well so far. Actually, they haven't had much come off of it yet, but time will tell.
It's been some unfortunate missed hooks on the side of Geek, so
which happens, but they just need to recover from that now. It's gonna take a bit of work, but
down goes the Shadow Shaman yet again. Witch Doctor's gonna fall here after the steal of Shackle.
Nothing worse than dying.
So Rubik has a nice channeled stun now.
That's right. Nothing worse than dying to your own spell. It's very insulting.
Yeah.
The other thing I've noticed with the Midas that I've seen Havorce do a little is if you're at that stage when none of your creep are actually going to die for a few seconds, ducking into this camp quickly and Midasing the big one and then coming back in and last hitting is actually really, really efficient. Because you get that big XP boost. You kill the big one instantly, and then your supports have something to quickly go kill and then come back. And then, like, you know, they get a minuscule amount of gold, but you also get the free lane experience while they quickly do it, and the extra experience from the Midas.
Yeah, and getting the XP early on is really, really important. Towards the end of the game, getting those Midasing creeps is such a big deal.
That's right.
But early in the game, getting that extra XP coming your way.
That's right.
Now we've got another Storm Spirit going on.
Wow.
Yet another Witch Doctor. Sad.
He's got an Orchid.
15-minute
Orchid, Power Treads and Bottle. And Null Talisman. Jesus. He's fed. He's huge.
That is impressive. He's sitting at 7.5k, leading the Lifestealer. And looking right now at farm, Lifestealer is 1,000 gold ahead of Faceless Void with a Midas.
Once again, though, on the Artemis side, we're seeing another aggressive build.
Yasha, he's going on the Axe.
That's right.
Yeah, Axe gets a pull in. The Storm Spirit.
So Clockwork's doing really well here, but it's just not enough. There's nothing they can do. They've got no one there to help them when Clockwork goes in. His timing hooks really well. He's doing a great job. Artemis has done one of my favourite builds, and that's Vroom Vroom build, is what we call it.
Drums and Yasha.
Drums, Yasha.
Speed, all the movement speed in the world, and he's getting a Yasha now. Sorry, a Sanj.
That's
So we're
right.
going to see an S&Y coming from the Lifestealer. In pops.
So we're going to see that. We've got the Witch Doctor ulti.
He's got Chrono in now. The Witch Doctor.
I'm surprised he didn't
and
target
he still hasn't dropped
the Lifestealer. Because you can actually target the Witch Doctor ulti.
All on his own. Storm Spirit.
Yeah.
What was that?
You can actually target the Witch Doctor ulti, so I'm surprised they didn't prioritize the Lifestealer. Yeah, I think. Oh,
they definitely should have. Storm Spirit's still managing to zip up and around.
They need to chase that. That's probably their best shot of killing him.
Yeah, he's completely out of mana.
Yep, and he's just tanked a lot of damage.
He's probably going to drop down to tower.
Yep.
Yeah.
Having said that, that may have been intentional because he was out of XP range, and the gold was going to be split. So maybe he did that on purpose, knowing he couldn't get out easily. You know, maybe he walked past and figured if he got past it, he'd die to neutrals, but...
So that could have turned out a lot worse for Impact. I think they
actually came out on top.
I focused the wrong person.
Yeah, they had that's some poor focusing.
They did drop the Lifestealer.
Yep. They got rid of that Storm Spirit spree. Yeah, I think that worked out well. As long as they do stuff with the gold and the XP they just earn, that's the key. If they don't do stuff with it, they didn't win.
Even though that gold was split, on the side of with Storm Spirit dying, that's still 800 gold being split between those heroes. So
that's right.
That's a lot.
Exactly. And we've got mana bits on the Pudge now, so even if he's missing the hooks, he can throw more.
Another missed hook, but he manages to pop out to the right. But now Clockwork hooks in, hits with his hook.
That Storm Spirit is just so much mana right now. Just so much mana. He can just zip around wherever the hell he wants.
And he's already got 2k in the bank.
Absolutely.
This is.
I think they needed that
I
Witch
need
Doctor
to
ulti a lot
raise
earlier.
Storm Spirit.
They needed to do that Chrono Witch Doctor combination as soon as they got level 6. And that's what I was saying about one thing Na'Vi's really good at is they always fight early. And the way they force the teams to do what they want is... Because, I mean, Alliance and everyone know exactly what they're trying to do. But sometimes they can't stop it. And that's because if you put 5 people here and just start pushing down the lane, there's not a lot you can do. Like, you have to engage.
Especially if you have the upper hand in terms of, team
That's
engagements.
Right. That's right, exactly. I mean, you don't have a choice. You have to engage. You can't just let them push through towers, because otherwise they just transition to the next lane. Ooh, I'm not sure that's who he wanted.
Drops yet another support, and Pudge is going to go down again to the right clicks of the Storm Spirit.
Witch Doctor got caught.
Now pops the Chronosphere, but he is trying to focus the Storm Spirit, which is, again, is a bad idea. Now pops the stuns.
Catching the
but that's not
Witch
gonna
Doctor
do
there
anything.
too
And now
hurt.
this T2 mid.
They caught the Witch Doctor in that Chronosphere, and that was not
this
good.
T2 mid down already.
Yep. See, this team,
They only have one out of town.
MSG is doing exactly what I said. They're no longer got their faces forward, casually farming, because they're forcing people to rock up to fights. But because they're the ones pushing, they're playing defensive. And sometimes you are actually better off engaging. Like, even if it's under a tower, sometimes you're better off being the ones that go in. Because whoever goes in first gets to lay down all their stuff without being opposed.
Especially with that huge Clockwork initiation and that stun that can go on
That's
one
right.
of their counter initiators. So Clockwork's been doing some amazing work. Brock, some great hooks being thrown out, and Pudge has whiffed, I think, every hook so far that he's thrown out.
Yep. Except for the one where he got a lifestealer. I'm not sure that's what you want. That was a good ward trap.
Now the Witch Doctor ult is coming out, and that is going to deal a fair amount of damage.
That was
now
brilliant.
The
Witch
Witch
Doctor
Doctor
ulting.
Storm Spirit jumps in to try and take down the Pudge.
They need to turn Captain Luke away. Captain Luke needs to run.
And he needs to come.
And he's going to go down. They just lost that team fight.
Shackle shot, and these supports are going to finish off the Visage, I think.
So I wouldn't go so far as to say they lost, but they didn't win that fight because they lost their void. And they really need this free time for him to farm.
That was a really nice ward trap into a Witch Doctor ulti, so I think the supports both played really, really well.
That's right. Clockwork's going to make sure he doesn't bring in Lifestealer again, I think. Because he knows now that it's just too dangerous. You can't bring in the Lifestealer and trap him in the cogs
especially
because...
if you hook.
Yep. See, if that was a ward trap on the
hook
Clockwork, I
onto
would have said that was a waste.
Void, he's going to jump out.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. This Clockwork's built completely different to how I ever do it. He's gone battery assault, so whoever gets stuck in the cogs with him is actually really, really copping the pain. So instead of just being like a disabler, harass, constant type cogging, he's got the other way, and that's the, battery assault and the flare. You don't want to get stuck in their cogs with that.
Yeah, and that's generally what the build that I go as well. That's 1 level cogs and then max battery assault, and you deal a lot of damage, and it gives a lot of potential for 1v1 kills as well. Because battery assault, when you're 1v1 and you have no one else taking those battery assault procs, it hammers them down.
Definitely, I'll have to look at that sometime because. Probably not so much in teams where it's only my job to hold. I would probably still go the max the cogs, but in this sort of situation where they're ganking, you want that damage, and that's awesome. That's doing a lot of damage.
So all the heroes so far from the side of MSG are really making their presence known. You got the huge nukes coming out from the Visage, some great spell steals from the Rubik and being used against Impact.
Absolutely.
And so far they haven't been able to answer. These aggressive hero picks with the axe and the Pudge haven't worked out for them. They've been on the defensive.
Tower is not safe.
We got a huge 5-man or 4-man smoke gank coming out from 5-man smoke gank coming out from MSG with the surprise inside with the Clockwork, and it looks like they're going to initiate again, but just make sure that they don't go on the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
Now, Rock's just wondering which one.
Yep. Ah, that's how they did it.
Now, Lifestealer popped
That
out
was
a little
clever.
too early. Faceless Void pops out the Chrono.
Yeah.
And now Lifestealer just waiting to get at that axe. Down goes the Clockwork, sorry, the Storm Spirit and the Rubik. Another whiff of a hook with the Pudge. Now down goes the Shadow Shaman. Pudge trying to deal a fair bit of damage to this Lifestealer, but he's just going to man fight out. However, Maledict can finally take him out. Pudge needs to stop running because he's about to die. Clockwork trying to take him out with some...
Oh, Visage Birds are coming along.
With a flare, and these Visage...
Oh, they're just gonna... Yep, those birds are gonna die, I think.
Yep.
Yep. So, the Witch Doctor, to be honest, is pretty much their thing at the moment. He's really holding them in.
He's managing to stop those, counter-initiate and get off a full-length channeled ultimate. So that's dealing a fair amount of damage. And even the Shadow Shaman, with that Ward Trap.
I think the next initiation...
outside the chrono.
Yeah, exactly, that's right. I think the next initiation, they need to have the Storm Spirit sit back, wait for the Witch Doctor ulti, and then go in and stop him.
It just seems like, you know, in between team fights, MSG just have the upper hand in terms of farming and lane and map control. But as soon as they engage in a team fight, there seems to be a fair amount of counter initiation coming from Impact in terms of the Shadow Shaman and the Witch Doctor. So it's something that they sort of really have to be careful going into. And we see the DC from Witch Doctor, which... You know, the Impact should really be pausing for
That's right, he's almost back in base now.
Realized.
I think we're seeing a BKB on the Witch Doctor too, which is a really good call. They need that BKB on him.
And they'll ensure that he, well, maybe a BKB pickup, or he's just gone...
Or he's just going for Ags and just wants the extra health, yeah.
Ag Scepter. If he does go BKB though, that means that he can't be jumped on by the Storm Spirit. There's basically... Lifestealer is the only one that can take him down.
And even then, the Witch Doctor ulti is physical, so I actually think out of that, like 1v1 type situation with the BKB on, that Death Ward would win. Because I don't think he's got high enough base health to sustain the Lifestealer, because the Feast is off a percentage of your actual health at the time.
Yeah. So the squishier the hero.
Yep. Glass cannons are actually a weakness of Lifestealers if you play it right.
Yeah, Pudge on the other hand, he's going to be ripe for the
Yep.
Lifestealer.
I think we've seen it a few times in the fights where Lifestealer is taking a lot of damage. He's focusing that Pudge and just trying to get that extra health. And I'm not sure I would want to have hooked that.
Bottom tower has
there's a little present in there. Pudge doesn't know it, but they have changed the initiation though now. They don't want the Clockwork, they want the Storm Spirit.
And MSG are just kind of like, hey, hook me, I dare ya.
That's right. They're waiting for the Pudge hook. I honestly think they're better off sending in that Faceless Void, get the Chrono, and initiate themselves. Because you lose people.
Get the Clockwork in to pop. Yeah.
Like once that Clockwork's in, they lose someone straight up. Without casting anything usually as well, because of the battery assault.
Yeah, and if you can bait out that Chronosphere, that's just going to be a huge
oh yeah, once that Chronosphere's down, they can rax. There's nothing they can do. That's pretty much it. And that's why I do like Void, because he's one of those late game carries, but he's got that useful skill that if you get caught out early game, he can still be of use.
Yeah, and he can, you know, in the worst case scenario, be a support. Now Clockwork jumping in with a major.
Now that Witch Doctor's gone, which means they want to fight. They want to fight now.
Still raged up. He's going to focus on this Pudge, right-clicking him like a boss. Pudge is going to drop, and now the Chrono only happening on the Visage and the Clockwork. Clockwork's still going to manage to survive with a nicely timed mech, and now it's Solar's just coming out. Pudge is down, Faceless Void is down, the Shadow Shaman is down, Axe is down. That's a 5-man team wipe going the way of MSG with not a single hero dropped on their side. So that was an amazing team fight.
Brilliant Rubik Wards too.
Open up this. Yeah, I'm just going to open up this XP and gold graph, and we see a huge spike, or a decent spike going the way of MSG. So that's 15,000 gold extra in their favor. That's a huge lead at the 27-minute mark, and 12,000 XP on MSG. So
absolutely
massive lead going the way Meth Super Gaming.
But we see what you were talking about. The Midas is holding the Faceless Void in, but I just feel at this moment that if he'd had that Mask of Madness, he would actually be able to kill people in the Chrono now, and he can't yet.
Dire's bottom tower is
and
under
look,
attack.
he is doing well. He's third in terms of net worth, just behind the Storm Spirit and the Lifestealer. But you know, he's doing well to keep up with them. However, the rest of his team are running in the last 4 spots, and
Absolutely.
Pudge is the second poorest right now behind the Axe, and even the Witch Doctor's the second richest on his team right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's a little bit of a misnomer. They accidentally earned Sarge minion, so it looked like Clockwork was getting the earn, but he wasn't. So he's sitting there like, why isn't my health going up? And then he walked off and he realised.
Shan was slain by Radiant.
He just picked up by the Lifestealer.
Now,
and he is
Lifesteal's
so
got Basher.
quick right now. He's running at 441 movement speed.
Yeah, and he's got Basher now, so I honestly don't think they can rely on the Witch Doctor ult his thing on the outside if they don't stop that Lifestealer, because he can just walk up and bash him out. Now I reckon he would win that engagement, 1v1.
Yeah. And once this is upgraded into a oh god,
Abyssal?
mental blanked. What's the upgrade of the Basher?
The Abyssal Blade?
There we
Yep.
go. With that 2-second stun.
Yeah.
That's gonna be that's gonna be another really hard stun that Lifestealer can offer to cancel the channel with either the Witch Doctor or the Shadow Shaman.
Definitely, and that RNG he's got now too. It'll reset every time one procs. It'll reset both, I'm pretty sure. But it's still a 25% chance and a 16% chance. So if I've got my stats right, he only needs like every 31 hits at them is the maximum he can do without getting a Sange proc, and only 11 hits and he'll get a Basher proc. So when you combine those together, there's like probably every 4 hits he's going to have something proccing.
Yeah.
Whether it be a
That's
slower
amazing.
aim. That's good RNG on his part. Oh, we got a Storm
Another
Spirit.
whiff hooked
Life
up
Stealer.
down the side of Pudge, and Axe is looking low and explodes the Witch Doctor, even though he DCs, so that might have been a little bit of a reason why he didn't get anything off. Now, down to Shadow Shaman, and Clockwork is diving hard, and we get a Fade Bolt coming out from the Rubik, and Pudge is the only surviving member of this, and GG gets called. This
It's a
is
shame too,
absolutely
because
over.
Pudge just got his
Great
good
plays
hook.
from MSG.
Middle barracks are under dire
Oh,
middle
we have
barracks.
Yeah.
Rubik stole wards again.
There were
He's good at
3
stealing
sets
those
of wards
spells.
out right there.
Yep.
Congratulations going to MSG for their 2-0 win against Impact, and some great plays coming from their carry with Artemis, and Brock with some amazing initiations of the clock. So much farm so quickly. He even at the 29 mark, he's got an Orchid, he's
Yep.
got a Hex Stick, he's got Treads.
And that was a
slowdown.
slowdown. He actually had, like, his
yeah.
gold per minute went down. It's like, wow. The amount he farmed that quickly.
So I think we're going to see some amazing things coming from MSG in the future. So unfortunate misplays coming from Impact, and just some lack of communication, and yeah, I think Faceless Void did all that he could to try and keep up with the farmers on the side of MSG, but unfortunately just wasn't up to the task.
That's it.
So, thank you guys so much for watching. Whether you're watching on Twitch TV, whether you're watching on Dota TV, I'm Berkeley. Joining me with Silk, and Python's headed off a little bit earlier in this game. Now, if you guys want to keep up with any more SDL 2014 Season 3, as well as some other tournaments that we do for Dota internationally and here in Australia, make sure you click that follow button on Twitch TV, and you can check us out and be in the know every time we head live. So, thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure you play more Dota. Signing off.